Well, that thing right there is like literally one of the fastest things ever. All right, so we got a special guest here on the channel today in the way of the Laugo Arms Alien right there. As you can see, absolutely crazy looking pistol. And it definitely looks like the alien from the movie Aliens.
Why don't you put her in charge?
You better just start dealing with it, Hudson.
Now, the Laugo Alien is hands down one of the coolest and one of the most expensive pistols out there in the production market today. But this comes as the full kit, so you get all of this great stuff that I'll show you here today. You get a carrying box, you get an additional slide that will have the optic on it, one that won't have the optic on it, a holster, a cleaning kit, all the good stuff that you're gonna need to get out there and do competition or whatever you wanna do with this thing. But again, comes at a price point. Now, as I'm sure you can tell by taking a good look at that thing right there, that is not a basic polymer style pistol. This thing is 100% built and geared for competition shooting. People who literally go out with something like this and make money while having fun out on the range. The Alien is also kind of an investment grade firearm. Now, what do I mean by that? So there are people out there who literally invest money in certain firearms because something like this is a very limited production run of pistols. So it's either going to retain its value, or in some cases like NFA items or full auto transferable items, they actually go way up in value, because if something's limited and they're scarce and somebody else has the money, they're generally going to pay you what you want to get what they want. And this one specifically right here is very different from just about every other, if not every other pistol out on the market. And I mean like different, like Doc from Back to the Future, Mad Crazy Science is kind of different because of the way it operates.
21 gigawatts!
And by operation, I mean this thing is operated like a modern gas piston rifle, which is pretty cool because it's a pistol. So pistols generally don't operate like that. It's kind of like a direct blowback thing. However, this one has a gas piston system in it, which is pretty awesome. And also the next cool thing is the slide really doesn't move, right? So that's it. You get that piece right there moving back and forth, which means your barrel doesn't move either. So your barrel stays exactly where it's at, giving you the lowest bore axis of any pistol in the world, because the barrel is literally set, if you look right there, into the frame rather than into the slide. So not only do you have minimal mass going back and forth, but the barrel is literally in line with your hand. So as you press this thing out, the only reciprocating mass you get is that little bit right there. And the barrel is literally the lowest point into your hand, making the recoil go straight back like this, so you get less muzzle flip, if that makes sense to you. Again, crazy science. Now, I'm sure some of you inquisitive people, or those of you that know your firearms, say this looks strikingly similar to something like a CZ Shadow 2. And yes, it does. It also has that similar kind of grip. It is an all metal pistol. And the guy that designed this also did design some CZ products. It's going to share that grip angle and the weight of the CZ, which I know competitive shooters love, and overall has that same kind of grip feel in the panels and just about everything to the grip. Now, being that it is all metal, it is definitely a thick chick. It's a little bit heavier than your striker fired pistols. Actually, it's a lot of bit heavier than your striker fired pistols, coming in at 2.2 pounds. So that's over 32 ounces. But again, this big gulp is specifically designed and geared for competition. So the more weight you have, the easier it is to get those follow-up shots, because it's not going to flip on you. It's not going to drive back in you as much because it's got so much weight in its underpants. Now, if you guys like seeing content on things like the Laugo Alien here, or getting information on other things you might be interested in life, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to make sure you don't miss any content on new or cool things like the Alien, because it's not new when those videos come out. Also, it's going to tell YouTube to push this video to other people if you subscribe, some of which maybe are interested in seeing something like the Alien, or maybe have never seen content in the Second Amendment way before. It might help change some minds out there. So make sure you subscribe, and if you think you're subscribed, give me that discount double check and let me know if you were unsubscribed by the overlords in the comments. Now, since this is a competition pistol, everybody's going to want to know what's that trigger like. Well, there's your wall and there's your brake. Here's your reset and brake. It is pretty crazy. So let's get a good up close look at this thing. And of course, put it on that gauge so you can see what the trigger is all about. All right, let's get a good up close look in at the Laugo Alien right here. So you will get 3 of these magazines, which are the 17 plus with the base plates on them. Overall, like I said, a CZ kind of shadow tube profile going on here. You do get the integrated mag well with this kit. You get very nice, very aggressive grip panels on the side right there. If I give those a quick squeeze, you can see the imprinting that it puts in your hand. So tons of traction. Great knurling and checkering up here on the front strap, and then an area for your pinky to get on that mag well right there. Again, great work on the back strap right here with the knurling, the checkering, and then some linear lines right there. All that good texture in all the areas you want it so you can get a good grip on that pistol. Moving up, you got a single-sided magazine release right there, which is very, very nicely done. It's kind of, you know, lined off, beveled off right here on the edge, so you're not going to hit it with your offhand when you're in the firing grip, yet very easy to get to with just a quick push forward, and you really don't even have to break your firing grip at all right there, which is pretty cool. Get the camera to focus, there you go. So don't even have to break the grip to get it out. Pretty awesome. Slide stop slide release right there. It is single-sided on both those controls. Very nice single finger groove right there. Nice double undercut, or single undercut, I mean, to get your finger way up in there like that. Just well done on every part of this frame. A lot of area to get really high up in there on the back strap right there, so you can get the web up in there. And that, remember, is where the barrel is in line in there, so it's a super low bore axis. You got your standard kind of looking barrel, I guess you could say. It's square, but it's sunk really deeply down into the frame. I'll lock this back so you can see just how low profile that barrel is, right? Normally a barrel would be up here in the slide, but this barrel is affixed down into the lower receiver, which makes it fire so flat. You're gonna have your typical logo stuff, some kind of lines, very nicely beveled off so you can get your finger down in there, just kind of slides right into the trigger area. You do have some texturing up there on the front of that trigger guard. And you do have an accessory rail up here, or a 1913 pick rail, in case you want to put anything else up there. The controls are just great. There's plenty of area to get in there. You're not going to activate those on accident, but they're plenty to get onto quick, fast, in a hurry when you're out there running this thing in competition. And then you just got insane serrations all over this thing, because since this top part of the slide doesn't move, and that's actually the extra slide right there, so you can kind of see how crazy that is where that goes in there. It's just that one pin for your maintenance and cleaning that you have to punch out to break that down and get that taken care of. But you can work this thing very easily. There's not much mass to it. Then you have a kind of a nicely almost flush and pretty deeply crowned barrel right there. So overall, a pretty sweet looking pistol. Really does kind of look like the Alien from the movie Aliens, like I said. And then this is the optic that comes with the kit. It is theirs. It's not bad at all. It's not a duty optic. You probably don't want to go dropping this thing on the ground, but that's what it is. In the kit, you're also going to get the holster for competition. I wanted to show you this because it's actually really nice. So it is aluminum, it is adjustable, and then obviously the outside here is Kydex, which is going to be quick, fast on the draw. So this push button right here, you can take that off and use a different one if you want, but you've got 3 different height selections in there, which are very easily achieved just by punching that, and then it will not come off the bottom. So a very, very nice, I mean, just beautifully machined and very well done holster setup on this thing, which is pretty awesome because for the price point, it should come with accessories like that. Now let's go ahead and check out the trigger on there. So there is a trigger shoe safety right there. It is extremely light. It's just barely enough to know that you're on it. The trigger does have a slight curve, and that trigger shoe safety does go sub flush right there. So when you touch that, you're at the wall right there, and it just breaks. That break is super light. It will surprise you. So here's your reset. It's audible, it's tactile, but it's lighter, okay, than other striker fired stuff. So again, listen for it. It's kind of light, but it is there. So it's just barely enough so you can come out quickly and get back on that trigger. Let's go ahead and put it on the gauge. I'm expecting this thing to be 3.5-ish pounds, probably somewhere right around there. So we'll do 3 pulls. You kind of stuttered on that one a little bit. Yeah, that one came in at 525. So let's do it straight. I must have drug the rubber across that thing right there. All right, so 2.4 on that one. I'll pull a little bit more center line on the trigger this time. Just trying to avoid that safety or the magazine release. All right, so 4 pounds flat pulled from the center. We'll do one more, maybe 2 more, unless we get something weird. 4.08. It does feel a little lighter than that, but let's go right about here where I get my finger. 276. Let's give it one more. I'm going to try to pull from that same place right about here where my finger hits on that trigger. So right here, 3.5, and that's what it feels like to me. So any difference in the weight is going to be how and where I'm pulling that thing on the trigger. And I just love that magwell. It just works, helping you get that thing in there. So I know some of you need the full specs with some music, so here you go. Now, that's pretty awesome stuff, but how did this thing run? Well, it ran like a competition pistol should. But honestly, this thing is crazy good out there. Not only can you run this thing just as absolutely fast as you can get your trigger finger working, but it just feels good doing it. It does take a little getting used to for me because of that grip angle, but once you settle into this thing, it is just absolutely sick. When I was mag dumping this thing at like 15 yards on just a standard C-zone plate of steel, I just emptied the mag into that thing center mass as fast as I could without skipping a beat or missing at all. Dude, I almost knocked it over with a pistol.
That's funny. Well, it is at an angle.
It gave me 0 malfunctions out on the range and honestly just put a smile on my face and really did test the limits of how fast I was able to work my trigger finger, because the thing just stays on target. I mean, I just don't know how you could make a pistol any better or shoot any flatter than Laugo Alien. Now, who is the Laugo Alien really for out there? Because it is a very different pistol. This is not a duty pistol or a concealed carry pistol. Now, for the most part, it's going to be for 2 types of people, generally, because I'm not going to tell you what you can or can't buy, nor am I anybody to tell you what you can or can't buy, but really the competitive shooter, the person that's out there making money for a living, sending those rounds down range, hitting those targets, getting those good times, and bringing home those big trophies, because you don't get a participation trophy when it comes to competitive shooting. The next type of person this is going to be for is the collector, the person who's looking for that investment grade firearm, who either wants it to retain its value, maybe take it out for a Sunday cruise when they test the wind out there to make sure things are going to be good, or the third person who has a lot of money and can't hit the target, because this thing will definitely help get you on target. And anybody else who wants to spend $4,800 on that full kit. Yes, $4,800 for this setup. That's a lot of coin. So for my Burger King workers out there, that is a lot of whoppers to wrap up. But remember, this is unlike anything out there. It's made in limited numbers, and it's really geared towards the people who are going to make money off of it or use it as an investment kind of thing. So it may not be for everybody, but it is definitely badass. If you get a chance to shoot this thing on an open range day, take it. You will regret it if you pass it by on the table. So if there's a range that has one to rent, go check it out. It's a really cool experience as compared to like a striker fire setup or even like a 1911 or a 2011. It's just vastly different. Now, I know somebody's down in the comments saying, is it worth it? Well, if you have the money and you want it, that makes it worth it. Just because you don't have the money doesn't mean it's not worth it or it's too expensive. Just means you can't afford it. But it is really cool. Now, talking about how it ran out there, I ran 115, 124 grain, and I ran some of those Jello shots from my boys over at Badlands Ammunitions. And the Alien gave me 0 problems. It ran like an absolute beast through all of that ammunition, to the point where I think I ran just over 500 rounds through it and I did not give it a break. And since it is all metal, it literally got so hot that I couldn't hold on to it because I just ran mag after mag after mag as fast as I could load them. And they are the nice 17 rounders plus, but the thing just performed even when I got it blazing hot. Besides getting super hot out there, was there anything I noticed about the Alien? Because nobody gets a free pass. This was sent out for review, but it's a loaner. I don't get to keep this one at that price point. The other thing that got me was the grip angle. So I prefer a more neutral grip angle, so I really had to do a couple of press outs, but then once I got it, the thing was on fire. So other than that, it's just really cool. There's a lot of really awesome stuff going on, a lot of cool engineering, and at the end of the day, it's just fun and put a smile on my face. Now make sure you get subscribed to the channel. Keep doing it out on the range. Remember, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. I will see you all on the next one.